Welcome back, everyone. Jenny here from City Tech. Thanks for being here. Because today we'll be diving into something real. It's not just a policy issue, it's not just a statistic. It's personal, it's emotional, it's about our values. We'll be talking about a safety survival issue. If you're from the Sheepshead Bay area, like me, you probably heard what's happening over at 2134 Coyle Street near Avenue U. The government has picked a building. It was first introduced to the community as affordable housing, but later it was reannounced to be a homeless shelter. The community was caught off guard. Many even called it a bait and switch. I get it. Concerns are rising. The shelter is being built close to local schools, and not to mention, there's a liquor store nearby. Parents are worried. People felt left out of the conversation. This is not what we asked. This is not what we agreed on. But here's where we need to take a pause. Homelessness isn't new. It exploded in the late 20th century, driven by job losses, rising rent, and cuts to mental health and housing programs. We left behind people who really need help, those battling trauma, addiction, mental illness, and we are now living with the results. I attended the protests in our neighborhood. People brought drums, their own chants, slogans, signs, and their own energy. And more than anything, they brought pain and hope. It reminded me of a paper I once wrote about music and healing. Music has the power to unite, and that very same power was in these streets. People of all ages coming together. Even if they disagreed, it's because they cared about their community.
No homeless shelter. 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 No shelter. No shelter. No shelter. No homeless shelter. No homeless shelter. No homeless shelter.
This isn't just a big city problem anymore, and that's what we're here to explore. I asked my peers, people who try to see this issue from both sides, to put themselves in their shoes. I asked them to imagine what life is like, being a homeless or a concerned parent.
As a homeless, can you describe what a normal day looks for you right now?
It's a constant struggle of feeling like a beggar because although I don't want to be asking people who are also struggling and going through things, that's the only option I have right now, as no job would consider hiring me, whether or not I show qualifications, because of the fact that I do not have proper maintenance, proper resources. No job would hire me and would feel comfortable hiring me.
What challenges or events led you to this point in your life?
When it comes to challenges, there's a lot of issues with how I was raised, and not being in a stable home created me to have an unstable environment, and being forced to leave said home. And out of survival, I've been having to stay homeless, not because I want to, but because that is my only option to this point.
What do you think are the biggest things you need right now to feel safe and supported?
I think I would want a startup to help me get into the position where I could be more independent. I wouldn't want to stay in a shelter for my whole life, but I would want help in whether it's finding a job or just trying to maintain myself so that a job can look at me, building a resume, building experience, making me more of a credible resource in a job.
If
And
someone
and I would hope that the shelter would help me out in that instance and not enable me to stay there.
if someone built a shelter, a new one in your neighborhood, what would that mean to you?
It would mean the world to me if that shelter actually helps out the community instead of just making me feel like I need them. I wouldn't want to feel like I'm invading the space of the community, but I also do want to be able to live on my own and build a future just as everybody else has the opportunity to. And I think a shelter would help me out, and hopefully it would help out other homeless people the same way that it would help me.
What do you wish other people, especially people with homes, to understand what you're going through?
I wish that they would understand that I'm not homeless because I want to be. I'm homeless because of opportunity, circumstance, and how life just has happened. Homelessness can happen out of nowhere to anybody in any situation, and it doesn't have to be direct.
Yeah, but I have to give me issues.
She's gonna call. Yeah, that's it.
What's one change you think you can make a real difference for people without homes?
I don't have a home.
What's one change that would make a real difference for you?
Oh, a change would be the opportunity to get like more resources. So if the shelter offers more resources into like, let's say, computers or even clothing that I can use to help me start up a portfolio, a resume for anything that I'm going into,
Bye-bye.
that would help me tremendously start forming my life.
Alright. Are you ready for your parents' perspective?
Just
What concerns would you have if a homeless shelter was built right next to your child's school? Not to mention, there's also a liquor store right at the corner.
I think I would be very concerned for my child's safety and as well as other children. There's one thing about a homeless shelter already being there, and you never know the type of people who might have been drug addicts and are still battling those issues, and now not to mention the added liquor addicts and how that can also affect their behavior. In a community that also has a school right by there, you don't know if children will be more inclined to like go up towards them and just be unsafe, not knowing how to handle a situation with someone who's homeless, and on top of that, probably consuming something, as well as you don't know what type of person the homeless person might be, and if they can be perverted or if the kid is put in an uncomfortable situation, especially since they're young kids. You don't know what can happen, and I think I would be scared for any children's safety.
Is there anything that would make you feel more comfortable with a shelter being nearby?
I think if the shelter was something that was more closed off and that kids don't have the chance to really interact with the homeless, I think I would feel a lot more safe, because just as you don't know who the homeless person is, you don't know the type of curiosity the child might have, and innocent curiosity for that matter, as well as the fact of if that shelter was not near a liquor store, that might add on to any added struggles that the homeless person might be going towards. Yeah.
Why do you think people become homeless?
I think that people become homeless because of opportunity and circumstance. There's a lot of people that probably get into the wrong path and end up not finding a way to get out of said path without help. Once you go down that spiral, it's very hard to get out on your own. And that's why, if there isn't the help of a shelter or of any assistance, it would be hard for them to get out of that.
What do you think is a real solution to homelessness in our community?
I think a real solution to homelessness would be just finding spaces into where they can do more community work rather than just being stuck in one place. I think it's a great opportunity to have homeless people start helping out when it comes to trash or community service, so that way they could not only help out the community, but they could try to build themselves up and start finding a way to become more independent.
Thank you.
This is where the moral dilemma gets real. On one hand, you have people who need a place to stay. On the other hand, you have families who just want to feel safe within their community. So who gets to decide what's safe? And does fear outweigh the need for compassion? We need to consider the bigger picture. Shelters do offer warmth, food, protection, but it's not the solution. Not everyone goes. There's strict rules, there's trauma, there's addiction. It's not that simple. So people stay on the streets in tents and doorways, and we, as society, judge them for that too. We need to think bigger. We need to think about housing, healthcare, prevention. But a shelter near a school isn't the whole solution. But shutting it down, that's not a solution either. This isn't just a local issue anymore. This is a moral question for all of us. We need more than just temporary shelters. We need long-term plans, affordable housing, accessible healthcare, trauma-informed support. Closing a shelter near a school might ease some fears, but it doesn't solve the problem at its root. In fact, it just pushes it farther from view. That's the real question I want to leave you with. Can we protect children and still care for people experiencing homelessness? Or are we just trying to keep the uncomfortable truths out of sight? Because in the end, homelessness isn't just a public issue, it's a human one. And if we want a real change, we have to act like it. That means speaking up, having hard conversations about these truths, and voting for leaders who believe in real lasting solutions, because this is our community, and we all have a role in shaping what it becomes.